What's up, historians? I'm Smith McNeill, and this is Echoes of Freedom. Together, we'll travel to America's most iconic places, uncover hidden stories, and bring the past to life. From the voices of everyday heroes to the legends we thought we knew, we'll listen to the echoes of freedom that shaped our nation. So get ready to explore, learn, and celebrate American history, one story at a time. Alright guys, so we're here at Petersburg National Battlefield. We're actually at the site, come on with me, we're actually at the site of where the Union line would have dug, and if you can see inside, this is still here. The Union line dug straight through this tunnel. You can see just how narrow it is, but they're going to dig through and they're going to spend a long time, a couple days and even to a month, digging underneath. I was just curious if that was still there. It's rock, but they dug underneath here to get underneath the Confederate line, and I'm going to show you. We're going to go up to the crater here in just a moment. I'm going to pick up the second half of this video there, but they dug all the way almost half a mile underground here to get underneath the Confederate line, where they're going to plant explosives and create a crater underneath the Confederate Army, so that way they can successfully work on their attack. Now, I'm going to explain more about the attack when we get up to the crater. I wanted to stop here and just show you how tight this space was that they worked. There's probably 2, maybe 3 people that worked in here day in and day out with shovels, digging this out and then laying the board to hold the earth back, so that way they could keep this tunnel open. And it's going to play a pivotal role here at Petersburg. Stay tuned just a second. You're going to get part 2. I'm going to connect it to this one. We're going to be up at the crater, and I'm going to show you what happened in the aftermath. All right, adventurers, we're standing now at the crater up above where the Union was digging the tunnel, and off in behind me is the crater itself. And looking down, it's like 20 feet down there where they set off that mine. And this is the Battle of the Crater, and we see a dramatic story of innovation turned tragic. It's actually July 30th in 1864, so we're 161 years ago now. And July 30th, just today's the 3rd, so like 27 days from now, 161 years ago, Union troops dig a 511-foot tunnel beneath the Confederate lines. So it starts, if you can just pan over that way a little bit, it starts way back there where we were a few minutes ago at the Union Tunnel. And they dig underneath all the way up until they get right up to this point here. And this is where they're going to set off this mine here. And they pack this tunnel full with 8,000 pounds worth of gunpowder. When the explosion went off, it forms this massive crater. You can see just how big and around this thing goes. It's massive. It's nearly 170 feet across and 30 feet deep. My notes here say 30 feet deep, actually. Now, it kind of looks like 20, but like I said, my notes are showing 30. I just wrote some notes down. And ultimately, though, unfortunately for the Union, poor planning turned this advantage into a massive disaster. Union troops, instead of going around the crater, supposed to be going around the sweep. In fact, if you can see this pillar standing up here behind me, just to the right of that pillar there is the extreme right flank of the Confederate line. And the Confederate lines can go that way towards our left, moving on forward. But this is the extreme right flank, as far right as the Confederate lines go. And the Union Army is supposed to go around this crater and kind of shoot down in on the Confederates. Of course, now things have grown up, so it's not as deep as it was. But they would stood up here up top and just be able to shoot down in on the Confederate soldiers. They didn't. The Union Army charged straight into it. So instead of being able to shoot down, they themselves got trapped in their own crater that they created, their own trap. And the Confederates quickly came and surrounded and started pouring fire down this pit. If you've seen the movie Free State Jones, you'll know the reference. It's a turkey shootout here. Just shoot them. They're throwing bayonets, they're throwing swords, throwing rocks down, just shooting. Because the Union Army, they're trapped inside. If you look behind, the Confederate Army would have been at the top of the peak back there where the trees are. And you could just see how far down it is to go, where they could just shoot down in on the Union Army. And the Confederate Army was able to inflict terrible casualties upon the Union. And so this crater here reminds us that even The most daring military plans can fail if leadership and execution break down, and that the human toll of war is always heartbreaking. Guys, this was supposed to be a huge advantage for the Union Army. It turned disastrous and became a massive advantage for the Confederate Army in the early parts of the battle here at Petersburg of the siege. This, of course, this is July of 1864. This, of course, would span for almost another year until April of 1865, when the Union Army finally gets a hold of Petersburg and forces the Confederate Army to flee to the west to Appomattox, where they will ultimately be forced to surrender to General Grant and end the Civil War. Thanks for coming on the adventure. We got more to come, so stay tuned.